Hello children, I am Shubhajit and today with me is Ekta. Welcome you all for watching a new and interesting video about the topic of integrating pathways, nervous coordination from the lesson Control and Coordination of Class 10 Biology. We see many things in our surroundings. We say any organism is alive only when it is showing some movement. We know that several movements are going on in our bodies. Some of the movements are due to changes in the environment. For example, we take back our hands and feet to prevent touching hot and sharp objects. So, the changes that take place in the environment to make us move are called stimuli. The relevant changes in the activities of organisms to particular stimuli are called the reactions or responses. Living organisms show responses to stimuli like light, heat, cold, sound, smell, taste, touch, pressure, pain, or the force of gravity, etc. On receiving a stimulus, the body responds with the most appropriate response. To provide the correct response to a stimulus, all the organs must work together. This working together of various organs in a systematic, controlled and efficient way is called coordination. Learning outcomes. After studying this topic, you will be knowing about response to stimuli, nervous system coordination, structure of nerve cell, pathways involved from stimulus to response, keywords, response, stimuli, neuron, axon, dendrites, myelin sheath, synapse, afferent or sensory nerves, efferent or motor nerves, let us see the flow chart on neural coordination pathways. The organs, tissues and cells work in our body by a specific pathway. They pick up the signals of change from the surroundings and respond to them, triggering different functions in our body. For example, moving aside on the road for the approaching car is natural. Response to stimuli. The response is an effect of a change in the organism to signals or stimuli and a sequence of events that brings about responses. They start by detecting changes or stimuli in the environment, the transmission of the information and the processing of the same. Finally, the response will detect and execute the appropriate action. Responses are brought about by rapid changes in some muscles, and such changes are related to changing stimuli. The rapidity of a response indicates an efficient communication system linking those paths that detect stimuli to those that trigger a response. Integrating pathways, nervous coordination. The Greeks believed that all body functions were controlled by the brain, since damage to it produced remarkable changes in behavior. Galen, a Greek physiologist, made one notable observation. One of his patients suffered a blow on the neck and complained of loss of feeling in the arm, but retaining normal muscular movement. Galen concluded that nerves were of two kinds, those of sensation and those of action. According to him, the blow in the neck had damaged the nerves of sensation but had not affected his action. The functioning of nerves as integrating systems was known little till the late 18th century. Then physiologists studied the mechanism of nerve functioning and discovered signal transmission relating to the recent work on electricity. Now, more about how nerves from the brain and spinal cord control responses of different areas of the body are known. We know about the probable pathways that transmit information, but little about the working mechanisms of the nerve cell. Structure of the nerve cell. The nerve cell or neuron is a basic structural and functional unit of the nervous system. The neurons carry messages in the form of electrical signals called nerve impulses. A neuron typically consists of three basic parts: cyton, dendrites, and axon. Cyton is also called a cell body or perikaryon, having a central nucleus and cytoplasm called neuroplasm. The cytoplasm has a large granular body called Nis's granules, and other cells organelles like mitochondria, ribosomes, lysosomes, and endoplasmic reticulum. Neurons cannot divide, and several neurofibrils present in the cytoplasm help in the transmission of nerve impulses to and from the cell body. Dendrites are the numerous branch cytoplasmic processes projected from the cell body surface. They conduct nerve impulses towards the cyton. The branch projections increase the surface area for receiving signals from the other nerve cells. The axon is a single, elongated, slender projection. The end of the axon terminates as fine branches with knob-like swellings called synaptic knobs. The plasma membrane of the axon is called axolemma and the cytoplasm is called axoplasm. It carries impulses away from the cyton. The axons are covered by a protective sheath called myelin sheath and a layer of Schwann cells called neurolemma. Myelin sheath breaks at intervals by depression called nodes of Ranvier. The region between the nodes is called as internode. The myelin sheath acts as an insulator and helps rapid transmission of nerve impulses. Our nerve system consists of about 10 billion neurons to communicate with each other in a specific manner. Dendrites of one nerve cell connect to the other or the axons of the other nerve cell through connections called synapses. Synapse is the contact region between two neurons for the exchange of information from one neuron to another. These are small gaps for passing information in the form of chemical or electrical signals or both. These synapses are mainly found in the brain, spinal cord, and around the spinal cord. Beyond these areas, the axons carries the signals to respective areas in our body. Neural pathways. Observe how can you hold a stick from stimulus to response. There is coordination between the eye and fingers. Based on the pathways followed, nerves are classified mainly into three different types. Afferent neurons carry messages toward the central nervous system, spinal cord, or brain from nerve endings on the muscles of different sense organs. These sense the changes in surroundings and are called stimulus, detectors, or sensory nerves. Efferent neurons or motor nerves carry impulses from the central nervous system to effector organs such as the muscle fiber or the gland. Association nerves conduct impulses between sensory and motor neurons. Our body needs to respond to both voluntary and involuntary responses. The responses that are not under voluntary control are called reflexes. The involuntary actions carried out in very short intervals of time follow the short pathways bypassing the brain. The voluntary pathways are longer, passing through the brain. The reflex arc. The reflex pathways pick up the stimulus and generate a response from detector to the brain or spinal cord. Sometimes an automatic, rapid and involuntary response to a stimulus bypasses the brain and involves a specific pathway within the spinal cord. Such a single pathway going up to the spinal cord from detectors and returning to effectors is a reflex arc. Knee-jerk reflex is observed when a doctor taps the tendon below the kneecap with a rubber hammer. It stretches the muscle spindle receptors in the thigh muscles. This stimulus triggers a reflex arc, involuntarily causing the leg to kick forward. Withdrawal reflex is observed by accidentally touching a hot object, pulling away hand quickly without conscious thought. The sensory receptors in the skin detect extreme heat and the reflex arc causes the muscles to contract, moving the hand away. Pupillary reflex is observed in response to changes in the light intensity, adjusting the size of the pupils. Bright light causes the pupils to constrict, and dim light causes them to dilate, regulating the amount of light entering the eye. Gag reflex is observed when something touches the back of the throat during swallowing. It causes the throat muscles to contract, protecting the airway and preventing choking. Touching accidentally a sharp surface operates several reflex arcs, causing the muscles of the leg to withdraw the feet involuntarily. Interestingly, the same effectors in the leg muscles can perform special movements under voluntary control. Hence, in a football game, the leg muscles operate both by reflexes and voluntary movements. These voluntary and involuntary pathways are controlled by the nervous system. You will learn about the nervous system in the upcoming video. Stay tuned and enjoy learning.